of the City of Dauphin, we acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, known as First Nations territory, homeland of the Anishinaabe Nation, Ojibwe tribe, and homeland of the Métis Nation. Welcome everybody. Let me say that we have new camera and people at home count my nose hairs, so you can tell how exciting the whole process is here. So moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bellemare, be it resolved that Council accepts the regular agenda as presented. Call the question, all in favor? Motion carried. And Councillor Juba is ill tonight, so he won't be attending. Moved by Councillor Laughlin and seconded by Councillor Eilers, be it resolved that reading be waived and that Council accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, that of the regular Council meeting of March 11th, 2019. Any questions? Call the questions, all in favor? Motion carries. Is an exciting part of our council meeting. Starting in we started in 2013, and we've had local poets present their poetry in honor of World Poetry Day, which is on March the 21st of every year. Today we're fortunate and excited to have, for me especially, former student Tara Matthews. And Tara, just go right ahead and give us your words of wisdom. You just sit at the table.
I'd like to thank you for the invite to come and read a couple poems.
Speak up.
No. Speak up, not speak.
Yeah.
Well, I can do that.
Okay.
I've done two poems. One when I was in college, and the other one I've written for this evening. So the first one is called Eagle Down, and I'll read it to you. If I have to take off my glasses, I can. Eagle down. I have my clan in a jar. The jar is the universe. The universe is the cosmos. The cosmos is in each of us. I can give you a part of me. I can put myself in a jar to give to you. Would you want me? I close my eyes. Ah, salt, seaweed, a warm breeze on my face and my skin. I open the jar. She flies away. Gasping, I start to sing. Perfect, whole, and all-encompassing. Tiny glass bottles I shall give you. My homeland, my culture, my language, my herstory, my history. My gender role, a part of my spirit. My magic, my breath, my sweat, my tears, and my blood. The struggle of a nation, the smallpox blankets, the residential schools, the constant praying, the cold, hard nights, hope coming out into the light, breathing for the first time. Eagle down next to my bed, it settles onto itself soft and fluffy. I can hear the water, the ocean, and the eagle calling to me. My dad's cabin, the heavy berries luscious and sweet. Another painful reminder, I am not home, I am far from you. My second one is nature. Who are you? What is your mother's name? Where were you born? What is your clan? All of me is tied to the land, nature. It is who I am, my voice, my identity, my clan, my connection to the mother. What is your intimate connection with the land? Womb of us all, provider and creator, nurture, you nature. You sustain us all. Corn pollen, sage, cedar, sweetgrass to pray with, tobacco to offer for what was taken. These gifts were made manifest. Creator spoke them into existence. Rushing, roaring rivers were silently surrounded by a pink-purple sky, sitting awestruck by thrilling ice and mountains. Nature has provided all that I could need, an intimate connection between us, never to be severed. Corn goddess in hues of yellow and blue, your gifts of maize sustains and provides. Salmon eggs glowing orange and burnt umber sparkle in the Skeena River. Cedar, reincarnated ancestors giving their life for us to feast our spirits, while the cedar tree clothed and protected us. Guarding, praying, wringing of hands. I hear over and over, it's terra nullius, nobody's land. Seeing the blood and tasting the salty tears, we cry out, will you join us? Can you hear? Your grandchildren's children, the vulnerable spirit asking to be born, will you nurture and sustain it? Will there be clean water and food for them, uncorrupted and pure? Free from oil and gas and pollution, the doctrine of discovery in one fell swoop came, declaring the earth and its inhabitants as a resource, static, soulless. Matriarchs carry our clans and hold the land where our identity sprouts, bursting forth new growth and strong roots, connecting nations for our children. We cry, will the salmon return home, knowing they have been forsaken? Destroying the land, we destroy ourselves. And when you destroy the women, you destroy the nations. And then you get access to the land. So when the river speaks, listen, for what is done to the land is done to our bodies. Terra nullius, nobody's land. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the councilors?
I thought it was very heartfelt. Thank you very much for sharing that. It was very deep, but very meaningful, so thank you.
Thank you, Council.
No, just like, sorry, Sarah.
Just make myself at home.
I gotta read this proclamation.
Oh, sorry.
Whereas we recognize the culture importance of language and literacy as the primary means of conveying knowledge, and whereas we agree that literature is defined as words raised to an art form, and whereas we acknowledge that poetry is amongst the oldest form of literature, and that it aims to express humankind's greatest hopes, fears, loves, and dreams. And whereas we understand that literacy is nurtured by the sharing and promotion of all forms of literature, and whereas United Nations Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization has declared observance of World Poetry Day on March the 21st every year. And whereas we encourage our citizens to enrich themselves through partaking in all forms of culture, we support the idea of promoting literature and specifically poetry in our community. Now therefore we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do proclaim March 21st, 2019 as World Poetry Day and April 2019 as National Poetry Month dated at the city of Dauphin in the province of Manitoba this 25th day of March 2019. Thank you very much, Tara. It was, I have to be very honest. When I was growing up, I never had a clue what poetry was about. My grade 11 literature teacher just shook her head. And actually, as I've aged, yeah. And I understand poetry better. Still not as deep as you have, but I took, taken inspiration from the words that you put together today. Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
Can I just
Oh, Deputy Mayor Bell.
Run it. You'll have to read another
We were kind of
poem.
hoping that you'd written a poem about Hal that you wanted to share with us from ACC. But seriously, thank you for the talk about the connection between us and the land, because I think we forget that, and especially this year, climate change and the carbon tax and those kinds of issues are going to be on our radar a lot with the election coming up and that sort of thing. So just thank you for that reminder, because that's really important. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, JL and I can't. Tara, for coming from the library and being the audience for this. Now you can stay and listen to Randy Daly speak about emergency management. So your choice. You can leave or
It's just like poetry.
he's put the whole presentation into poetry.
Would love to, but I've got to go back to the library and it still works.
Oh, thank you very
Thank
much.
you kindly.
Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Adler, seconded by Councillor Riel, be it resolved that Council accepts as information and enjoyment the poetry of Tara Matthews, which commemorates World Poetry Day on March 21st, 2019, and National Poetry Month of April 2019. Question, I'll call the question, and all in favor? Motion carried. That was very good. Next we have moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Loughlin, be it resolved that Council, oh maybe I'll read it after he makes his presentation, just in case we don't accept it.
Tough act to follow. Your Worship, respected council, staff, thanks for having me. I have to read my introduction of myself. I don't do that very often. Randy Daly, for those of you who don't know me, I am and have been the Municipal Emergency Coordinator and Emergency Operations Center. Can we do this? You want to do this? Team Manager for the City and the Arm of Dauphin since the 27th of September 2012. I have a contract for managing the emergency plan on a part-time basis. My duties include updating the emergency plan as needed and of course as required by the Emergency Measures Act, and managing the Emergency Operations Center in the event of a disaster. I work with Emergency Manitoba organization to obtain training pertinent to this position and facilitate the delivery of training by EMO and other organizations to those who need or will benefit from training. I also do presentations on emergency preparedness, monitor alerts, and work with various agencies to forecast potential significant events. I work on building and sustaining relationships with municipal staff, first responders, EMO, and other municipal emergency coordinators. I regularly communicate with organizations and businesses in the region to stay current on what they can provide in a disaster with respect to services, materials, or shelter. I also work on a casual basis with Workplace Education Manitoba as a facilitator. I'm a member of the Dauphin and District Food Bank Board and I am a temporary chair of the newly formed Crisis Prevention Task Force. Good questions? No. Let's see if this works. Sorry, but you're going to get my back. Emergency management overview. So, it's really the emergency management program now. So we're in a little bit of a new era with emergency measures, asking to our level, pushing some things down onto municipal levels to do a little more work. I don't disagree with what they're trying to do or how they're doing it. Just some of us, it takes a little more time because there's only one of us and we're supposed to be part-time. So, but some of the things they're trying to do is emergency management has 4 components. There's mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. Where's my download? Right. So, can everybody see that? Am I cutting you off, Christian?
No, you're good.
So, mitigation is really the discussion about and the planning for what might happen, right? So again, this is all coming about because overall insurance companies of Canada are concerned with disasters and the amount of money that's being spent. They want municipalities and provincial authorities to be very aware that there could be an end to money at some point if you don't do something about constant damage. So if you've got a place that's flooding every year, at some point they may say to you, we're not going to give you flood relief, right? Because you should have known that you have to build that up, etc., etc. So mitigation is not, they're not expecting municipalities to run out and change everything or expand everything or create new worlds immediately, but they want to know that there's a plan in place for building bigger infrastructure, deeper ditches, higher dikes, whatever. Again, you talk about the flood level, 100-year flood levels, those sorts of things. And there's no timeline on them, but they just want to know that there's an actual plan being discussed with infrastructure, with your public works, with council, to look at all possible factors. Our biggest risks are weather. If you do the analysis, our biggest risks are going to be blizzards, power outages in the winter, summer as well, but I mean, they're more severe in the wintertime. Heavy rains, flash floods, monster hail. I mean, happen once, can happen again. Yeah. So those are the kind of things that I think that are most imminent for us. You have all the other things like train derailments and those sorts of incidents as well, but they're not very frequent here. Can happen though, so again, preparedness. But so mitigation is, have we moved, over the years we've moved all the bulk gas stations away from the train tracks in town, right? Because that's where they used to sit. So that's a form of mitigation over time that you work on those things. Preparedness is what we do with the emergency plans to make sure we're constantly updating information, changing the resources as they become new or if they fall off, making sure that we're current with our information, doing training for myself and for others, conducting exercises or again additional training and public education. So I go out and I do some speaking engagements and just talk to people about what we do and how we do it and what they can do for themselves. Response then is we're dealing with an event, we open the Emergency Operations Center and we manage it and we support and work with Incident Command to manage that event. Recovery then falls on, like it says, talking about trauma counseling, financial assistance, business continuity, right? So we have a plan to restart business. That will fall mostly onto public works. But we also have plans where I work with the banks. This is an example, Fusion Credit Union, can be up and running in a day at a new location. So the banks all have emergency plans and continuity plans, as does the hospital and everybody else. So my job is just sort of to touch base with all those folks and make sure that their plans are being updated and they actually have them. So one of the things we get asked about a lot is emergencies. You know, why didn't you respond, or what do you respond to? So an emergency is a present or imminent situation, a condition that requires prompt action to prevent or limit loss of life, harm or danger to the safety, health, and welfare of people, damage to property or the environment. These are things that are handled by incident command, which is fire, police, EMS, or whoever else. It might even be public works. That's a normal day-to-day thing that does not involve the municipal emergency coordinator or the emergency operations center. We deal with disasters. So a disaster is when incident command, equipment, resources, and personnel become taxed or overwhelmed. Then the EOC is open, and we support first responders and other agencies that are called in to assist with incident command. State of local emergency is declared, and we are going to deal with the incident. Having said that, the EOC team, the Emergency Operations Center team, can be flexible. So this is not a carved in stone thing. This is, in this situation, we are dealing with state and local emergencies, so we're into disaster funding, etc., finance. The Towers Hotel would be an example of flexible. That was not a disaster as listed here. There was no state of local emergency declared. There was no outside finance come in. But there was obviously a need to help and assist the teams of people that were dealing with that evacuation. All right, so we called in the Red Cross, we had the mental health street team, we had public health, we had ENIA, so we had a lot of different agencies dealing with those folks that were in need. But we didn't actually open the EOC to its full extent. We opened a little bit of it, and it worked really well. But that was under the understanding that somebody had to pay some money somewhere if it came to a certain point. So those are things that are not, I recommend, and we've had this discussion with our staff over the years, that that's not actually written anywhere, because that has to be a conversation because it is circumstantial. Should we do this? Is it needed? What's the outcome? How are we going to do it? And then generally that's how you deal with it, because there's no way to write all possible instances. Just impossible. So in a normal functioning, only disaster, but they're becoming that way, you see incident command at the front end, they're the ones doing the battle. Then the local authority, which is the Emergency Operations Center, which works with council and mayor to pass resolutions, to communicate with citizens, to talk to other levels of government. Then you have EMO, or the Manitoba Emergency Coordination Center. They supply a lot of advice and resources and help support our effort to support incident command. And then beyond that, you get into federal assistance, right? Federal disaster aid, those sorts of things. But it all comes through the Emergency Operations Center to support the emergency, to support incident command. So we don't tell the fire chief or the police chief or the hospital how to do their job in a disaster. We support them in what they're doing. We provide what they need. We manage information and make sure that the municipality is functioning as well as it can under those kind of circumstances. The EOC is a team designated to support the efforts of incident command and disaster. The emergency plan provides the EOC team with the information and resources required to be effective in their individually identified role as a team member. The EOC team is supported by an EMO advisor. So in our case, it's Chris Popovich still, who his area is now expanded from like Flin Flon to Killarney, kind of. Used to be 7 guys, now there's 3. But he does a good job for us because he lives in our area. So this is our EOC team. It looks good, but I got a few gaps there. One of my biggest challenges is getting people to fill in those positions, because one of the challenges I have is we don't have a lot of disasters. So people lose interest because there's nothing to do. And I'm okay with that, right? So my new ambition is to recruit people who have like careers, or just retired from like careers, so that they have the experience and training and network to be on this team and still be connected to everybody, right? So I'm recruiting specifically. I'm targeting people. And when I find them, I will convince them that this is a real good idea for them to do. Most of those are filled up, like, you know, the PIO will be the city manager, Charlotte, and then the city manager falls to Ms. St-Godard. Bill, of course, runs Public Works. We have people in transportation right now. We have people in emergency social services, so some of those key ones. And the rest, of course, they provide representatives. And everybody's in this room. Am I going right? No. So, awareness is the most significant form of preparedness. We have to think about the what ifs and how to lessen the risks when we're thinking about disaster. And that's really it for me. That's sort of the nuts and bolts of. I have a 1 hour presentation sometime. I can make it 2 days. Questions?
What would you say to people watching this in terms of what they should do to be personally prepared in the event of a disaster?
They need to, we have on our website the 72-hour survival kit and suggestions. It's interesting, I was just at a Red Cross meeting a week ago or so, and they bumped that up to a 96-hour, recommend people prepare for 96 hours. So people should try to have at their disposal, things that can get them through 72 hours without assistance. Because depending on the level of disaster, we may not get to them, right? It's not that you don't want to, you just might not be able to get to them. So there is a list on our website. It's also on the EMO website. And right now it's still a 72-hour kit, but that'll be changing probably over the next year.
Our website, you're saying City of Dauphin?
Yes, sorry, yeah. Okay. Correct, City of Dauphin website.
Yeah, and just one other question. What communication methods are being used to let people in general know that there is a situation that they need to pay attention to, and you know, some action may be required, that there's an emergency going on?
In the event that we would use media first and foremost, social media, standard media. We have a call page, and then it's just a matter of fan out information. So we're also working right now to set up with all that to do sort of the mass notification. Yeah. So that's in training coming up, right? That's already been agreed upon, and that's a great thing, because the other systems we can get through them. We have in the past, but it's slow, and it's not as good as this system, because this system even provides feedback as to who answered the call, who let it go to voicemail, who didn't answer at all. So I mean, now you know where you have. We also identify all of our vulnerable people locations, so I mean, we hit them first anyway.
Any other questions of council? Thank you very much, Randy. Are there any sort of training sessions planned?
Yeah, Monday. We have 2 on Monday coming up. Wildfire training. So they're going to come out with the team to talk to us about how they're sort of gonna mitigate some of that stuff, what are the things that are gonna be involved there. And in the evening session, so that's from 1 to 4, from 6 till 10, we're gonna do emergency social services, putting on a thing on evacuations. And, you know, how to get around, what's the best way to do, what help develop your plan. They sent out an actual plan just the other day. Timing was great because I was just updating our side of that, and it's a perfect fit. So that's going to be next Monday. Chief Avery will be there, I'll be there. If anybody else wants to spend the time, you can be there as well.
Where's that?
At the fire hall.
Yeah.
So I have a fairly good working relationship with our EMO guy, and we get a lot of training in Dauphin because it's a good center. He likes it because it's a good center. So we have a real good working relationship there, and of course the fire department as well. We work really well. But the next training will be actually I want to do a tabletop on the EOC, opening the EOC. And then I would like to do some emergency operations center training that happened a few years back that's excellent. Still working to get that organized, but since we have a lot of new people in staff and around, I think it's time to have another go at that one.
Just that I really don't know role of mayor and council. I think I'm supposed to come here or whatever.
No.
No?
No.
Okay. All right.
Stay away. No, I just,
One vacation.
that's a whole, yeah, but that is a whole other section of our emergency plan that we can sit and discuss. I mean, you can talk to me anytime about that, but that's a good point. The mayor and council do have a significant role, obviously, not in this room. That's up to the public information officer, the PIO, your EOC manager, and probably Bill, right, to inform you, keep you up to speed, help you direct whatever you need to do. Also, what, you know, immediate releases, all of that. There's also legal responsibilities that's in the Emergency Measures Act. So Section 12 of the Act talks about your authority to declare a state of local emergency, to enter onto premises without warrant or whatever, depending on the disaster. All of those things are in that act. It's a real good bedtime read, but it is pretty dry stuff. But again, that's where we would advise you, but I think we have probably a depth meeting, so Dauphin Emergency Preparedness Team, we have a team. That'll probably be discussed, and I believe Councillor Rio is on that. And I don't know if there's somebody else. There's somebody from the RM on it too. And the city manager and the CEO. But we can talk about that too, but anytime you want sort of, that's in this presentation, okay? But it's a great question, and it's worth reading. It's also in here.
Any other questions? Thank you, Randy.
Thank you very much for your time.
Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bellemare. Be it resolved that council accepts as information the presentation by the Municipal Emergency Coordinator, Randy Dale. All in favor?
Better stay. Yeah. Okay, so, see.
Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Deputy Mayor Bellemare. Be it resolved that all items listed under item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of the minutes. Action items, the proclamation World Poetry Day and National Poetry Month, and we've done that. Be resolved that Council proclaims March 21st, 2019 as World Poetry Day and the month of April 2019 as National Poetry Month, as recommended by the Mayor and City Manager. And be resolved that the following water accounts be added to taxes: $2,567 at 78 cents at 215 Main Street North. Current owner did not pay current utility bill, as recommended by the Director of Finance and the Utility. And the outstanding accounts receivable added to taxes, $293.63 at 518 Buchanan Avenue. Unpaid weed control, as recommended by the Director of Finance and the tax clerk. Filing items, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, the news bulletin of March 13, 2019, member advisory 2019 federal budget, Federation of Canadian Municipalities 2019 federal budget, Mountain View School Division, News Digest, March 11th, Communities in Blooming News of February 2019, Community Futures Parkland newsletter of March 2019, Prairie Mountain Health Plus of March 2019, Minister of Infrastructure, the Vermilion River Dam, Manitoba Justice, repeal of the New Home Warranty Act, and 9, Minister of Municipal Relations, the Municipal Operating Grant 2019, and ISIP 2 application intake as recommended by the Mayor and City Manager. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Eilers. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for the March 25th, 2019 regular council meeting, that of the City Manager, and welcome back, City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have been back for 2 weeks after being off on medical leave for the prior 6 weeks, and I am feeling good and happy to be here. I want to extend a huge thank you to our wonderful staff, Deputy City Manager Renee St-Gennard, and management, and all staff for doing a great job during my absence, and also thanks to Council for your support and understanding during my time away. Most of the last 2 weeks have been sorting through emails and getting caught up in the status of various projects. So here are just a few highlights. Manitoba Water Services Board has offered to help the City of Dauphin with some technical and funding assistance for 2 projects. One is UV disinfection at the water treatment plant, and the other is some upgrades to sewage lift stations 1 and 2. They are offering 50% financial cost share and technical help in terms of design and project management. And they have given us 2019 and 2020 to do the work. So we are just putting some work into ensuring that what we submitted to Manitoba Water Services Board several years ago is still what we want, and also putting that through to the 2019 budget deliberations. But later on in today's meeting, we will pass a resolution with Council asking Manitoba Water Services Board to start the process to get the ball rolling. I did extend our desire that our lagoon is our #1 project, and the representative there said, we understand that, but we don't have the money quite yet. We're offering you this, and so 50 cent dollars are good things to have. So we wanted to get going on this project. A second one is a couple of insurance things that we were dealing with, and actually a third one has presented itself since writing my report. First one was Parkland Rec Complex has a leak in the roof, and so we've sent that through to our insurance provider. And secondly, the high school is preparing for their graduation ceremony or party thereafter, I believe, in Crediting in Place, and they have some interesting entertainment that they'd like to get. And so we're working with the events coordinator at the Parkland Rec Complex to make sure that we have proper insurance on that. And a third thing that we're working with is some water damage in CN Station. There's been a pipe leak, and there is water damage on all 3 levels in CN Station, plus a little bit of just standing water in the basement. So working on getting the leak fixed and then getting all the damage from that fixed. In the meantime, though, everybody who works there is able to continue working, making some minor changes, office changes, and some extra tables set up and whatnot. But things are business as usual at all of the businesses at CN Station. Next thing was that we worked with the Habitat for Humanity, requesting some cost estimate for utility connection. They are still in the process of still in the planning stages of their next house build, which I believe is on 7th Avenue Northeast. They're wondering if they can get the paperwork together so that the build can start in 2019 or if it will be 2020. But we did provide them the utility hookup information so they can use that to present to Habitat for Humanity, the main office. And the last thing that's been taking up a lot of my time, as well as the Director of Finances, is the 2019 financial plan, prep of that. He and I had been we went through some budget forms as required by the province, and are working with management to determine operation and capital needs for 2019. The proposed 2019 budget will be presented to Council near the end of April, and then will be put to council meetings in early May for ultimate approval by May 15th, which is mandated by the province. And I wanted to pass on my condolences to the Chakota family in the passing of Mr. Glenn Chakota. Stephen works in City Hall with the Chamber, and so it's a very sad time for them, as well as our condolences to John and Louise husband on the passing of their daughter-in-law, Lisa, who lives in Lethbridge. And finally, Dairy Queen is open, so it is blizzard season, even though it's spring. That completes my report.
Thank you. Any questions of the city manager? Deputy Mayor Bellmer.
Just a quick question. For the CN station, when the pipe broke and caused water damage, obviously there's structural stuff. Was there any content damage, like particularly in the basement?
Yeah, definitely no damage to anything in the basement. There's just literally a couple puddles of standing water. It is in the top 2 floors mostly. Justice is in those top 2 floors. It does not appear that they had any records or files or anything damaged through it. It's almost like it just went through the walls and they're leaking down the walls and down structural pillars in the center. And then that also translated to some water damage in some stairwells, and then there's the brick pillars that are the originals that are that go through from top to bottom, and they're left exposed, kind of an architectural element, and that's where the water seems to be leaking down. But so the brick is not damaged by that. So yeah, it's good.
Any other questions? I'll call the questions all in favor on the manager's report. Motion carried. Next, moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that the finance account having been examined by council be hereby authorized and approved as follows. Check numbers 24492 to 24532 for 41 checks, $244,743.22. 24534 to 24549, 16 checks, $52,162.70 for a total check run of $296,000 $905.92. Any questions of checks? Call the question. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Lockman, seconded by Councillor Eilers, whereas Councillor Riel declared a conflict of interest for this item and excused herself from the vote. Be it resolved that the following disbursement be authorized and approved. Check number 24533 for $658.79. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Councillor Riel. Moved by Councillor Eilers and seconded by Councillor Lockman. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following Engineering Department staff reports for the March 25th, 2019 regular council meeting. That of the Director of Public Works and Operations and the Building Inspector. Will the Director of Public Works like to highlight his report?
Thank you, Your Worship. So I start my report by saying spring has sprung, I believe, or I hope so, and so far everything's been working quite well. As always, we've been dealing with frozen catch basins, potholes, those kind of things, but it has been a very slow thaw, which is nice. The river is running quite well, so I think so far we're in the good as far as that's concerned. I've been playing a bit of catch up on work over the last few weeks, trying to get some RFPs completed that were approved for last year and get them out as soon as possible, so I hope to have those out. The one is dealing with drainage throughout the entire city and a section of South Main Street as well, to promote or to help with continued development in that area. Second one is a water distribution model and design for pressure and district metering zones. As I mentioned, I hope to have those both out in a couple of weeks and have the proposals back in April sometime, or by the end of April, beginning of May. At the end of February, I attended the Manitoba Water and Wastewater Association annual conference and trade show. The event was a huge success and the largest conference for the association to date. Almost 400 water and wastewater operators from throughout the province attended the conference, and 94 booths were available at the trade show. As I mentioned in an earlier memo, as of the end of the conference, I have now assumed the chairperson position for the association for the next 2 years. I worked with Bell MTS to finalize some outstanding issues with phone systems and help straighten out the billing for the new system. So in essence, we have a lot of things other than just the phones here at City Hall and the other buildings that we get billed from MTS, and it was trying to figure out what needed to stay and what didn't need to be there anymore. So I think we have it all completed now. I have not heard from the Director of Finance if he's happy, but I think we have it all straightened out, and because I didn't hear that he was upset, I think it's okay. So we've had a significant number of frozen water service lines this year. Going back a few years when we had the extreme cold, we had the same situation. We don't have quite as many this time around, but we do have, I think, about a dozen or a little bit more than a dozen frozen water lines. Those will take some time to thaw them out if we haven't thawed them already. We do have some difficulty getting them thawed at times. We are going to look at that because all the climate information points to that this will be more of a regular occurring event with these Arctic vortexes and that kind of stuff in our area. So this year we're going to look at how we're dealing with this and looking at standard operating procedures to hopefully either mitigate or at least have a good plan in place for when it does happen. So it takes us by surprise. We never know when exactly it's going to happen, but it seems like it's going to happen more and more. I've been asked to be a panelist for a webinar put on by the Canadian Network of Asset Managers on Wednesday. I had a prep meeting early last week, on how this was going to go, and I look forward to it. The webinar is about, or the introduction to asset management, and there's several panelists from communities like ours that are just starting down the asset management process. So. As the city manager said, one of the air handling units at CN Station sprung a leak last week and flooded the building. We're currently working to get that cleaned up and hopefully get it repaired. This is actually the second time that we've had a leak in that same part of in that mechanical area in the building. So as part of these repairs, or before we repair it, we're going to look at seeing if there's a way that we can capture future leaks in that area so that it doesn't flood the entire building. In essence, a tray or something in there that would collect the leak, and also get some sort of indication when there is a leak in that area, because we don't want to go through this again. And as Randy talked about, the insurance company probably wouldn't be too pleased about the third issue, the same issue again. So I've also been working with the Director of Finance and my staff on budget. I'm continuing working on the asset management course that 3 of us have enrolled in. That is taking like 8 to 10 hours a week, so that's almost a day of my week gone every week to work on that. But it is a fantastic course. I've learned quite a bit so far, and we have a long ways to go. So I look forward to learning more. Working with the water treatment plant staff to look at some reporting issues for the province. We received our compliance report for the water treatment plant, and at the next council meeting I'll have a memo for council on that report. But there was a couple of reporting things that the drinking water officer wanted to look at, so I've worked with them, we figured that out. And I've also been working on IT and the IT budget for the year, and that's my report. I should mention that I don't have it in my report. You would have had a report last week from the construction maintenance foreman about water main breaks. We are at 18, as of today, 18 water main breaks or leaks that have been fixed or identified and fixed. We're hoping that it's going to slow down, but there's no guarantee. So they've been kept very busy hopping on that, as well as frozen services and those other things. So, and that's my report. Thank you.
The 18, is that average or above average?
So 18 would be our average for an entire year. So if we don't get any more, which is highly unlikely, we'd be average right now. Last year we had 39. So we have a long ways to go to get to that, and we'll see what happens. It always depends on the year, but I would say 18 to 20 is probably our average, but we've been as low as 5 in a year. It just depends on the soil conditions at the time of freezing and how much frost and snow and so forth.
Thank you very much. Councilors have any questions? No questions? We'll call the questions. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bellemare, seconded by Councilor Staccato. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the minutes and reports of the following committee meetings: the Fort Dauphin Museum, the board meeting of February 6th, the manager's report of March 6th, and the finance reports. Any questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? You have a question?
No.
Only just.
All in favor.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Councillor Eilers, seconded by Councillor Laughlin, whereas the Manitoba government passed Bill 14, Traffic and Transportation Modernization Act, came into effect on March 1st, 2019, and amends the Highway Traffic Act and other legislation to reduce red tape and duplication, and changes how traffic is regulated in Manitoba. And whereas the responsibility now lies with the municipalities as the local traffic authority to set speed limits and develop a speed bylaw by September 1st, 2019, be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated February 26, 2019, from the Minister of Infrastructure, Ron Schuler, advising of this new legislation and resource guide to assist this transition, and further be it resolved that Council directs administration to draft a speed limit bylaw based on the City of Dauphin's current speed limits for Council's review in advance of the September 1st, 2019 deadline. Any questions? We'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. And Deputy City Manager and myself attended a session at AMM on that. I think we're in good shape on it. Moved by Councillor Eiler, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information correspondent dated March 21st, 2019 from the Director of Public Works and Operations regarding a proposal to subdivide southeast quarter section 152519 west of the Prime Meridian, lots 1 and 2, Plan 22129 DLTO for owners Richard and Shelley Sorensen, and applicant Vulcan and Plutchikis, care of Greg Molnar, Community Planning Services, file 4411-19-7498. Further be it resolved that Council approve the subdivision application for the property as described with the following condition: the existing caveat 84-5684/6 lot 2 plan 22129 be registered against the title of the new lot 2, and any changes to lot elevations or surface drainage on the newly created lots will be done by the owner's applicant and in cooperation and consultation with adjacent property owners. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Yell. Whereas according to Section 187 of the Public Schools Act, municipalities are required to collect local school tax levies for school divisions within their boundaries. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information. Correspondence dated March 12, 2019 from Lori I taught her, I can't say her last name, but anyway, CGA, Coordinator of Finance with Mountain View School Division, advising of the city's requirements to levy, collect, and remit the amount of $4,665,806 to Mountain View School Division for 2019. Further be it resolved that the correspondence be forwarded to Council's 2019 budget deliberation to form part of the City of Dauphin's financial plan. Any questions? Call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. A lot of discussion at AMM on this, and it always is for some reason. People don't realize that municipalities have no say in the matter. But anyway, moved by Councillor Rial, seconded by Councillor Stakilo, whereas October 3rd, 2016, the City of Dauphin offered to purchase an approximately 14-acre land located on Jackson Street in Dauphin, Manitoba, between the City Shop and Fort Dauphin Museum from CNR. And whereas both parties wish to amend the offer to purchase agreement, and CN will extend the close date from April 30th, 2019 to April 1st, 2020, with the condition that $4,000 of the $9,800 deposit become non-refundable should the sale not proceed after the expiry of the proposed extension. And be be it resolved that council approves the agreement amendment to the offer of purchase and agreement of purchase and sale signed by the City of Dauphin on October 3rd, 2016, and the CNR on November 1st, 2016, which extends the date of for satisfaction of the severance condition for a future 11 months to April 1st, 2020. And further be it resolved, the council authorizes the manager and city manager to sign and seal the amendment. Any questions?
It's looking like a good date, that it's
Yeah.
proceeding now.
Yeah. Hopefully.
We just got the subdivision application from planning today, so it's going ahead. So it'll come to the next council meeting for our approval, and it'll go back to them, so we're moving along.
And it'll be approved by April 1st, 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you, Bill.
You got that on tape.
We hopefully will have the land before the end of the year, for sure.
Oh, good. But any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Eilers and seconded by Councillor Laughlin. Whereas the City of Dauphin owns the CN station and leases space to tenants. And whereas the lease agreement between the City of Dauphin and the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority expires on March 31st, 2019. Be it resolved, the council authorizes the City of Dauphin to enter into a renewed lease agreement with the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority for the lease of space in the CN station for a period of 1 year with the option of a 1-year extension. Further be it resolved that council authorizes the agreement to be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager. Deputy Mayor Bellmer.
Yes, I'm curious why this lease is with the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority and not Prairie Mountain Health.
So that Winnipeg Regional Health Authority is who's running the operations here. It's been with them or a predecessor organization all the time, and not with Prairie Mountain or Cinnamon or things like that.
That was the recruiting, wasn't it?
Office.
Office.
Office of Rural or Northern Health, or whatever it's called. That's, yeah, it's just operated through Winnipeg Regional Health Authority, so.
All
Kind
clear.
of separate from what's happening. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Call the question, all in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Rogers, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated March 7th, 2019 from Dennis Ford, President of the Fort Dauphin Museum, requesting a 2019 appropriation with a 5% increase over 2018. Further be it resolved that council accepts as information the request from Dennis Ford, requesting a 2019 first quarter payment in advance of the overall appropriation approval. Further be it resolved that council forwards this financial request to the 2019 budget deliberations. Question? Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated February 26th from Lana Parker, Secretary Treasurer for the Dauphin and District Handyman Association, regarding their request for a 2019 grant of $5,200 to help support vehicle licensing. And further be it resolved that council forwards the request to the 2019 budget deliberations. Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Manitoba Water Services Board provides financial and technical assistance to municipalities for the development of sustainable water and wastewater works based on priority and funding availability. And whereas each year the City of Dauphin submits a prioritized list of water and wastewater projects to the Manitoba Water Services Board for their funding and technical assistance consideration, be it resolved that Council accepts this information a memorandum dated March 22nd, 2019 from the City Manager indicating the Manitoba Water Services Board via telephone conversation and a meeting with David Schluck, General Manager of the Manitoba Water Services Board, has offered assistance to the City of Dauphin with upgrades to the sewage lift stations and the installation of ultraviolet disinfection at the water treatment plant, projects that were listed on the city's priority list. Further, be it resolved, the Council requests technical and financial assistance from the Manitoba Water Services Board to proceed with the upgrades at the City of Dauphin's sewage lift stations and to install an ultraviolet disinfection system at the water treatment plant. And that was reported in the City Manager's report. And I think what this year is sort of the technical drawing, and
if consideration of council for.
yeah. Any questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion passed. That's a great thing for our water. Moved by Councillor Eilers and seconded by Councillor Stakilo, be it resolved that bylaw 2002-2019 being a bylaw to govern the organization of the City of Dauphin and the committees thereof be now read a second time as amended. And that added that the deputy mayor's position will be elected by council. And in addition, if there is no nominations for that position, will the city manager and myself will make an appointment. All in favor? Motion carries. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Riel. Be it resolved that bylaw 02-2019 being a bylaw to govern the organization of the City of Dauphin and committees thereof be now read a third time and signed and sealed by the mayor and city manager. Any questions? All in favor? I have to take a roll call. All in favor, Councillor? Okay. Unanimous. I have to get all the names down. Now we move on to Councillor Clifford. Where did we start? I know it's you. We started with you. No. Councillor Riel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. March 11th, I attended the regular City Council meeting here at City Hall.
March 13th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce Awards Night at the Dauphin Country Fest Theatre. I would like to congratulate all the businesses who were nominated and won awards. It was really nice to see there are many locally owned and operated businesses who provide a lot of services for Dauphin and area, including a lot of employment opportunities for people in our community. And I would like to encourage residents to support our local businesses. The Chamber provides a lot of support to these businesses, and I'd like to thank them for all that they do locally. March 13th, I attended the Crisis Management Task Force meeting here at City Hall. March 13th, I attended a Chamber Board meeting. March 22nd, I attended a Protective Services meeting here at City Hall. And on Saturday, I attended the funeral of my schoolmate, Glenn Jacoda. I would like to extend my heartfelt sympathies to the entire family and friends of Glenn. The funeral was well attended, and he will be remembered by a lot of people. Here it ends my report.
Deputy Mayor
Yes, a few meetings. March 11th, the regular council meeting, and the 12th, I attended a day-long session on climate change readiness that Steve Sobering, our energy consultant for the city, energy manager for the city, managed to arrange, and that was really quite an interesting session with all kinds of things that we can think about and work on. March 12th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce Luncheon Series, and also a Community of Foundation meeting where that was a chamber meeting where businesses were honored for their memberships in 5-year increments. And congratulations to 3 businesses who have been members for 45 years. So the Watson Arts Center, Fusion Credit Union, and Dauphin Medical Clinic. So, and similar to what Councillor Real was saying, I just want to thank local citizens who have supported these businesses over the years and made it possible for them to have these long memberships. On March the 13th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce Awards Committees, and just a quick congratulations to the winners. I won't mention all the categories, but Mark and Whitney Oded, Dauphin's Country Fest, J.L. Gios, Dale Jacobs, and Dauphin Clinic Pharmacy. On March 21st, I attended a Vital Conversations meeting. This is through the Community Foundation, and we're applying for a grant and planning to initiate a project with our youth leaders in our community, and so stay tuned for information on that. March 22nd, I was at the same Protective Services meeting that Councillor Real was, and on Saturday, I attended a meeting with members of the WAC Business Committee to learn more about their plans, and stay tuned for more information on that. On March 15th in the community, I attended a special supper to honor our Syrian refugee families. They've now been in Dauphin for 3 years. The time has really flown. And once they've achieved all their language requirements, they're eligible to apply for Canadian citizenship. And they are very appreciative of the opportunity to be in Canada, and they love Dauphin very much. And they also appreciate all the people who have helped them and all the conversations that they have had with Canadians. They really appreciate the opportunity to practice their English and are thankful to all those who have spoken with them since they've arrived. On March 23rd, I attended the Third Thursday Music at the library, which featured the singing of the DRCSS Choir and the Parkland Women's Choir. The voices were beautiful and the library was packed, standing room only. And kudos, Sharaz, our local Ukrainian dance group for women, went to the Manitoba Ukrainian Dance Festival and took them by storm. They performed 2 numbers and they received gold for both, plus an invitation to dance in the showcase. And that's the concert that showcases the best from the 4-day competition. The crowd was wildly enthusiastic for both dances, though several audience members said that the lead dance moved them to tears with the story. So Winnipeg is yet another city that has Sharaz groupies. And I'd just like to say welcome spring and mud puddles. That concludes my report.
Councillor Eilers.
Yes. I attended the March 11th regular city council meeting. On March 12th, we have at a National Communities of Bloom teleconference. On March 13th, I attended the Chamber Awards Night at Country Fest Cinema, and again, it was great to see the recognition not only to the winners of these, but just to see how much all of these, whether it be businesses or individuals, have donated to our community and made our community what it is. So there was Business Person of the Year, was Dauphin Home Hardware, and the Legacy Award went to Dauphin Clinical Pharmacy. Young Entrepreneurs went to Prairie Supply, and Community Appreciation Group was Dauphin Country Fest, and the Community Appreciation individual was Jean-Louis Gilles. There was a lot in category, there was a lot of different businesses and individuals mentioned in all of these categories, and whoever was on the selection committee, it would have been quite a difficult decision. Anyway, I'd like to acknowledge that all of these really, really deserved an award. It's too bad we couldn't give more. Anyway, on March 21st, we had our Communities in Bloom meeting, and I also attended the Dauphin Ag Society meeting. And during that day, too, I spent most of my day at the Barker School doing ag in the classroom. And this year was awareness of ag. The theme is what is in my lunchbox, sorry. And so I think it's it was a very worthwhile day. It just made us realize of all the different producers and farmers that actually contribute to what we actually eat. And I think sometimes we don't recognize just how much or how important agriculture is in this area. And the other thing that I thought was a real step forward was at APTN. They televised an NHL game on Saturday in Cree, which I listened to one period, and I thought that was, again, something that recognizes our Indigenous people. And I too attended Glenn Chicota's funeral, and my condolences to the Chicota family on his passing. Roger, his dad, was actually one of my bosses when I started at Manitoba Ag. Glenn has been involved, and I've been involved as a producer in our areas, especially in the hog industry. It was well attended, and it was a wonderful tribute and honor to Glenn. And spring has arrived, so thank goodness. That is good.
For myself, March 11th, I was at the regular council meeting. March 19th to 20th, I attended the municipal official seminar in Winnipeg. I find that seminar very informative, and there's a lot of learning sessions that go on there, and I like to take in as many as I can. There we heard about some funding announcements. The province always likes to use that as a platform to announce new budget items for them, and as we've heard, they announced water and wastewater projects, as well as municipal infrastructure funding. So those are good things. Also, too, there was, like I mentioned, some learning sessions. Myself, I attended Leading Through Conflict session, Defamation and the Defense of Qualified Privilege that was presented by Greg Tromley of McCandless Tromley Municipal Lawyers, and it was an interesting and sort of eye-opening session on some of the legalities around defamation of character and what can and cannot be said. Some other sessions were the art of council leadership and an economic development session as well. So all in all, good conference, good seminar, and very informative. Today at lunchtime, there was an economic development meeting. At that meeting, we heard from Krista and Melissa as they gave the board an update on current projects underway, as well as some of the future projects for 2019 that will be included in their budget proposal. One project that I'm excited about is the housing study that's currently underway. And Krista had indicated that we should have the final report no later than June of this year. She is hopeful it'll come sooner though, but that's contingent on if the consultant is able to obtain some additional data sooner. As we've heard, on March 13th, the Chamber of Commerce handed out their awards. I too would like to congratulate all of those that were nominated for those categories. I believe the recognition just goes to show all the hard work that is done by these individuals and by these businesses, that is noticed and appreciated. And secondly, congratulations to all the winners. I know it's not always easy selecting a winner, but at the end of the day, there can only be one winner selected. So congrats to Whitney and Mark, to Dale Jacobs over at Prairie Supply, to JL, to Dauphin's Country Fest, and to Dauphin Clinic Pharmacy. Also, too, I just want to congratulate the owners of the Dairy Queen, which opened its doors yesterday. Although I didn't stand in line at 10 a.m., my son Kellen and I couldn't resist stopping in there later in the afternoon. Everything looks great, and I just want to thank them for investing in our community and wish them well moving forward. Lastly, I want to offer my condolences to Stephen and Nicole Chakota, as well as their families, on the loss of Stephen's father, Glenn. And also to just want to offer my condolences to Lorene and Don Husband on the passing of their daughter-in-law, Lisa. And with that ends my report.
Councillor Loughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On March 11th, I attended the regular council meeting. On March 21st, attended the Communities in Bloom meeting. And like Devin and so many people yesterday, I had a chance to go to Dairy Queen for their opening. Obviously, welcome to the community for them. I did not stand in line that early in the day for ice cream or hamburgers either, but I went in the afternoon, and again, we're looking forward to seeing more city expansion. Just to kind of track back a little bit, just because we didn't have a council meeting last week, on March 15th, obviously everyone knows by now that the Dauphin Kings were eliminated from the playoffs. Just want to say a heartfelt thank you to the community that supported us in the postseason. We had crowds of 700 for Game 2 of the series and 800 for Game 4. That's way above average, which is awesome. Really looking forward to next season, and it's going to be a really good team next year, so lots to look forward to there. And like many of my fellow councillors have said, condolences to the Chakota family on the loss of Glenn. A great loss to the community, and that ends my report.
Student Rep Ashton Kalita.
I attended March 11th regular council meeting. I attended a Manitoba School Division Conference in Winnipeg on March 14th, where I did a presentation with the Mountain View School Division Student Voice Committee. I attended student council meetings on March 13th and 20th. I attended Third Thursday Music at the Dauphin Public Library on March 21st, where I performed with the DRCSS Choir and the Permanent Women's Choir. Thanks to those who attended, it was a great time. DRCSS musical tickets will be on sale next Monday in the office at the DRCSS. Tickets are $12. The musical this year is Freaky Friday. Performance dates are April 24th to 27th. Be sure to attend. It will be awesome. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ashton. And the DR always has a great musical every year. So get your tickets early. My report, March the 12th, has been mentioned many times, the Chamber Service Awards and the Community Appreciation. On March 18th, 19th, and 20th, attended the Mayor and Reeves meeting. 19th, we had a City Caucus meeting at AMF. The AMF presentations, as mentioned by Councillor Stakilo, were very good in that they touched on newly passed legislation and also working with people. The bylaw enforcement, leading through conflict, leader insights by Randy Geiser, better care, close to home, that was the Minister of Health, and shared health, Brock Wright, and there's a lot of work being done on efficiencies in the health system. Also, we had a meeting with the Minister of Municipal Relations, the Economic Development Manager, and the Tourism Coordinator, Melissa, met with the Minister Wharton and his staff. We touched on 3 issues, the lagoon, and it will be going forward for, it was initial, was an indication of interest, and next is the application. And we have, I think most of the work done for that, project ready for the Director of Public Works, Bill?
Sorry?
For the lagoon, most of the work is done.
Yes, and we're shovel ready on it.
Shovel ready.
So, yeah.
So we'll be applying, the announcement is coming forward very soon. And it's a 10-year program, but I advise the minister, we'd like to be in year 1, not 10. So we'll see what happens. We got further clarification on the tax incentive program, and that's going to be an integral part of economic development in our community. And it's fortunate that one of the leads in that program will be stationed in Dauphin, and we look forward to it's the way we thought we had to create a zone in our community, and that would be where we get the tax incentive. But more, I think they're more interested in specific projects, and so it's going to be a good program, and we're looking forward to sort of become a lead in that area. Also, we found out that the government's favorite word is basket funding, and we found out that the trailhead for which the derailers applied for is in municipal relations, so we're working on, we finally found the department. Now we're moving forward on the application. As mentioned, the road and bridge program came back, and Dauphin is getting $138,500, and there's no need for application or anything. The check gets deposited, and we can spend it on any project that we wish. And also, in the federal budget, the top-up or one-time funding for the federal gas tax of $450,000 Dauphin will get, in addition to the regular amounts. So that's good news, and I can't sing. And congratulations to Dairy Queen. It employs 40 people, and welcome to the city of Dauphin, and I hope you have a successful business. And that ends my report. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Allergy. Resolved that council be recessed. All in favor?